Hey, how's it going out there? This is your boy J Dash. There. I'll fix my hat a bit. There we go. This is Art of Attraction Thursdays on Crash with Dash. And today we have a very interesting topic. There is this idea in dating that we are going to discuss. So, this is, of course, if you've been following everything that we've been talking about, now we're at a point where we're probably involved in a relationship as it is. If you're not in a relationship yet, this doesn't pertain to you, but it's still important to know. So if you're not in a relationship and you're wondering, well, how do I get into a relationship? What are some steps I can take to get into a relationship? Well, the first 7 videos that I've released that are in the archive, if you click the archive, are all about how you can get yourself into a relationship. And it should be more of a quality relationship versus, I guess, a quantity relationship. There's a lot of people who are like, oh, I've dated this many girls and this and this. I don't even work quality. Like, at some point, quality has to mean more than quantity. I believe at some point we mature past the point of quantity. There might be that phase you have in life where quantity matters. You're around your friends. Oh, I'm doing this. I'm getting this many. I'm doing this. But at some point, quality is going to be what the majority of us are going to be looking for. So I entitled this one, let's get the image up here, the Crossroads of Dating. Okay, so this is all about the crossroads of dating, because in the dating world, you're going to hit a crossroads. And what do I mean by a crossroads? Well, the honeymoon phase will not last forever. So when you first date somebody, usually the first month, maybe couple of months, sometimes up to 3-4 months, depending on how frequently you see the person, we call this the honeymoon phase. I guess that's the colloquial way that we, colloquial phrase that we use here in the States. We call it the honeymoon phase. And the honeymoon phase is the period where everything seems to be going well. This person seems to be, I guess, at a sense of perfection to you. You believe that this person is not flawed. You believe that there's nothing wrong with this person. All the time you spend together is magic. There's never a bad day between you two. There's no arguments. There's nothing. Did I find the person of my dreams? All those things. We call that the honeymoon phase. So the honeymoon phase will not last forever. That is one of those things where you'd be shooting yourself in the foot if you were to believe that this sense of, I guess, accelerated happiness that you're in, it's almost like this drunken state of romance that you're in, is going to last forever. It's not. That's why we call it the honeymoon phase. And so ultimately it will end. And it just depends on the person. It depends on the frequency that you see the person, when you're going to start to realize, man, there's a lot more to this person than that. Number 1, I didn't know. Number 2, that I didn't want. Number 3, that do I really want to deal with this? Like, those things are eventually going to come out. And that's what we mean by the crossroads. When you hit that point finally, you have hit the crossroads, because you are at the point where you need to make a very smart, conscientious decision of how much do I want to pursue this relationship. And let me just move some of my talking points over here so I don't forget any of them for you all. Okay, so the one thing that we need to do is we need to understand that, as I said, the person that you have gotten involved with, when you first saw them, a lot of times people like to say, and when I've been trying to read people's comments and help people and with their comments, is that this person was out of my league. So this is why I have to make sure everything works. And I have to go all out for this person because this person's out of my league. And I've told you all before, never believe a person is out of your league. Beauty does not make someone out of your league. The only time I would say somebody's out of your league is if you know that you're a crap person yourself and this is a genuine person. Okay, that's something that is defined by that person themselves, not by their looks. That is something that comes from the inside of that person, and that's where we judge if somebody is out of our league or not. Because somebody can be beautiful but be the worst person to ever exist, and that person is definitely not out of anybody's league. Beauty does not define you as a person. I'm not saying looks don't matter. We all go for what we deem attractive, and there's nothing wrong with that. But don't believe because someone is very attractive that they're out of your league. That's what I don't want to hear you say. Well, this person's out of my league, so despite the fact that things seem bad right now, even though the honeymoon phase is ending, this means that I have to put more because I can't lose this person. If this person is showing you a lot of red flags, this is when you have to ask yourself, is the beauty worth the problems? And if your head is in the right spot, the answer is obviously no. So once the honeymoon phase is over and you're starting to see these things, these red flags pop up out of nowhere, remember, a red flag is a red flag for a reason. And we are not here to play capture the flag. We are not trying to capture as many red flags as we possibly can. If you're here to play capture the flag and you capture an insane amount of red flags, you're going to be miserable for the rest of your life if you think that this is about capture the flag. This is not about capture the flag. If you have to capture one flag, there's a problem. Now, I'm not saying that problem can't be resolved, but once it gets to 2, 3, 4, 5, you have to really sit there and, be realistic about this. Is this worth it? Is this person's intoxicating beauty worth it? That's an easy question for me. No, because to me, there's literally nobody who is that beautiful. Even who you would deem a perfect 10, to me, is not worth the headache. I just like to have a peaceful life. So, I'm not saying go out there and date ugly girls, because there are attractive girls who aren't head cases, but there's a lot of them that are too. So this is what I mean. Don't put someone on a pedestal ever, period, dot. And this will make it easy for you when you hit this crossroads to evaluate the situation with a straight mind, and you can easily say, you know what, this person's just not for me. Yes, this person's beautiful and all these things, but I personally can't see myself dealing with all this, and it becomes an easier decision for you to make once you take them off the pedestal. And those red flags should automatically take them down off the pedestal anyway, even if you were to pedestal them. If you don't recognize the red flags and don't, start bringing them down some notches due to those red flags, then it's you who has the problem and it's you who needs the fixing. But the easiest way to do it is just not to pedestal them from day one. Just treat them like you would anybody else. If you do that, that's your best chance for success in relationships. Okay? So, now that we've knocked that out, the other thing that I want you all to do and consider, and this is not me promoting you being unfaithful. What I'm about to say, it has nothing to do with being faithful or unfaithful. If you tell somebody you're going to date them exclusive, you need to stick to your word. Okay, I'm all about honesty. But that does not mean because somebody is my girlfriend that I'm completely out of the hunt for other people. Even if you tell them you're dating them exclusively, that could be true. I am dating you exclusively. I am not necessarily pursuing other dates. That's not what I'm doing. But people nowadays in today's society treat the label of boyfriend, girlfriend the same way that most people treat husband and wife. And that's wrong. You are not treating a boyfriend, girlfriend like you would husband and wife. I can understand if you're engaged. Engaged is a bit different. But if you're just dating somebody, and even if you say you're exclusive, and there's other people you meet along the way, that capture your interest. There's nothing wrong with taking the chance of pursuing something that you feel might make you more happy, somebody that you feel is more compatible with you. There's nothing wrong with that. I'm actually one of those people that even believes if you're in marriage and you're not happy and you're not necessarily pursuing, but if opportunities arise and you're not happy in marriage, it's not a good marriage anyway. And there's no need to continue a good marriage. So I would say, marriage to me, and this is just my personal thing, does not mean it's the end. And if things start to change, people evolve. And if the evolution is not working between you two and there's nothing that you value about each other, I just don't believe in staying in a marriage that is not healthy for you. It's different, of course, when you have kids, but I've met some people who gotten divorced just because the marriage itself wasn't going well and neither party was happy, even though they had kids. And I'm not mad at those people. So I don't think marriage is the end all, where it's like, hey, we're married, so yeah, I'm not saying don't try to work it out, but if you grow apart, it's actually a part of humanity, the growth and maturation of you as an individual. And if it's grown too far apart, and it's unmendable, because there are some situations where it's just not mendable, like no matter what, we're not going to come to common terms and whatever. So but I do believe that marriage is a big deal, and I'm not saying don't treat it like it's a big deal. It is, but don't give anybody other than your wife or your husband that same prestige. If they are not your husband or your wife, then you are still single. On your W-2s, you put single. Okay, whenever you're filing W-2, you put single. You are single. Okay, you are not filing jointly. You are married. And so if a better opportunity arises and you're curious enough to go, say, you know what, I don't know where my relationship is right now. I'm not very happy with things. We've tried to talk about it. Things aren't working out. And you see something that seems to be better. And it's worth taking the risk. As I said, be honest. Let the person know, hey, this isn't working. I just want to go out there and, go back to being single, pursuing other things. I just don't feel that we're compatible. And then go pursue. As I said, I'm all about honesty. So I'm not saying to do it behind their back. I'm not advocating that you cheat. I'm not advocating that you flirt to develop closer emotional connections with that person that you're interested in. But I don't believe that it's wise to completely take yourself out of something that does not have any foreseeable future. I don't believe that you should just stay, because a lot of people are like, yeah, well, that's my girlfriend, and so whenever people say girlfriend now, if you substitute that word with wife, a lot of times it's the same thing, and that's a problem. I wouldn't want to do that because then what about her doing this? And like, hey, it's your girlfriend, it's not your wife, or it's your boyfriend, it's not your husband. So don't even give them that prestige. When they become your husband or they become your wife, then they have earned that prestige for you to basically look at them in that manner and talk about them in that manner, to where, I'm just going to turn the volume down on my phone. I don't want any distractions. So that's what I'm trying to say. Don't give them that label, and don't give them that prestige to where you're going to close yourself off from other opportunities. When you're married, yes, that's your agreement in marriage. You're agreeing to close yourself off from any of those opportunities. When it's a boyfriend-girlfriend, especially when you're in the crossroads, it's okay. And don't feel bad about it. Just basically realize that, hey, we were in the honeymoon phase. You're not quite the person that I really thought you were. And maybe it's my fault. Maybe I pedestaled you. Or, you're starting to show more of yourself, and what I'm seeing, I'm not liking, and we're not really meant for each other. When you start realizing that, then it's, and you're ready to move on, or part of you wants to move on, and you see something that seemed like a better fit, there's nothing wrong with going back to that person and explaining, not that I've been dating behind your back, because you're not necessarily dating. I'm just saying, when you're with somebody and the crossroads time hits, usually there's nobody that is really captivating your interest as much as the person you're with, if you're happy with it. If you're not happy is when other people start to capture your interest again. And that's what I'm trying to tell you to do. Notice the fact that you're not as happy as you would like to be. And it seems like this is a problem that cannot be rectified, because if you've been the straight up honest person that I've been telling you to be, you would have tried to figure out solutions. And if the solutions just aren't working, then you need to face reality and pretty much move on. You're at the crossroads, and that's the decision you need to take. However, and this is a big however, if you're in the crossroads and you find that somebody else is capturing your interest, you need to understand that you are viewing them from the honeymoon phase lens. Meaning that you are quasi-pedestaling this person. Even if I tell you not to pedestal them, you're putting them in a place that is above that person, that person's value. Okay, you're doing that because you're like, man, this person's really cool, but because it took you have to think about this situation. I was in the honeymoon phase with this girl for this long, and until now, I really didn't see this person's flaws. Until now, or I ignored them, or they didn't start showing a lot of this until this day or that day. Well, you would have to go through that same experimentation with this new person. So you have to keep that in mind, that you're probably viewing them in that honeymoon phase lens as well. And you have to ask yourself, do I want to go through that to find out this person's flaws? Because this person has flaws too. And if you're already being drawn that way, you have to realize that the current relationship that you're in, and that's in the crossroads, it's probably done. Okay, and a lot of times people have this idea that a boyfriend or girlfriend is a status symbol, or they just like the label, or they like the comfort, and they're willing to stay in things that aren't really going the direction that they want them to go in, just because of either the label, the comfort, or what they feel is the necessity, and so they just stick around. Or you see the person who, right when they break up, they're dating somebody else, and next, that turns into a relationship. These are the need to have a relationship people, which I can't tell you what to do, but I would say, try not to be that person. Try to learn how to love being alone, being by yourself, and that solves all of this. That solves all of this. If you just learn to love solitude and enjoy solitude and enjoy your own company. But you would have to go through the same phase with this new person. And so you're looking at them at the lens like you did the person you're currently in a relationship with, where it's like, man, this person's great, blah, 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 blah. But you would have to go through that phase all over. Remember, I know there's that old cliche saying that there's nobody perfect, but you're perfect for me. That is not true. There is nobody who is perfect for you. That person that you feel is perfect for you will get on your nerves. Okay, that person is going to get on your nerves too. Remember, perfect means that everything is a bliss. So there's going to be, times where they get on your nerves, they're going to agitate you, they're going to do this, they're going to do that. That's part of relationships. I don't think there is relationships in existence where there's nothing about that person that doesn't bother you. If that's what you were looking for, you're never going to find it. There's no such thing as somebody who's perfect for you. There's somebody that you can tolerate, Okay, your goal is to find somebody that you enjoy their company and that you can tolerate their flaws. That is success in a relationship. I can tolerate your flaws. I accept your flaws. I can tolerate your flaws, and we get along. Um, and that's why I care about you. But when you hit the crossroads, you have to understand it is a very important decision. Maybe you're not ready for a real commitment. There's always that. That maybe I'm just not ready for a real commitment. And there's nothing wrong with that. You just have to express that. As I said, it's all about honesty. But if you're sitting there telling yourself, when they do this, it really gets on my nerves, and I have to find somebody where they won't get on my nerves. Well, that's not going to happen. There might be somebody you find that gets on your nerves less. But everybody at some point is going to get on your nerves. It's just a part of humanity. So when you hit the crossroads, remember that this person may get on your nerves, but if it's something that you can tolerate, then is it really worth going through the experimentation with somebody else because they're capturing your moment and you're viewing them through the honeymoon phase lenses? And that's what I mean. Now, you're not married, so it's okay to take the gamble. But if you take the gamble and you lose this person that you were with before, that's the cost of the gamble. You win some, you lose some. And so you have to ask yourself, is it really worth it? Now, I'm not saying to create this mental block where nothing is worth it and I've achieved toleration with this person and there can't get any better. No, it can be better. It can be better. And so, that's all I'm saying. It's a double-edged sword where, you can stay and have to deal with things that are going to get on your nerves, but everybody does. Every relationship has, there's traits about that person that just don't, they bother you. But it's always going to be that way. So that's what I'm trying to tell you is that there's no such thing as perfection. And so if that's what you're looking to achieve, perfection, the dating world will never work for you. So you have to achieve maximum threshold toleration. And I enjoy your company. That's the goal of dating and successful relationships. So remember, the crossroads is normal. How you play through this phase of the crossroads and the determining factors is all up to you. Be mindful of red flags. Be mindful that it's okay to end a relationship at the crossroads if you don't see a light at the end of the tunnel. Do not stay in relationships that you're not happy in. Because you're saving yourself you're saving yourself from a bigger problem later on. Because if you let it continue to go, because you're like, man, but this is my girlfriend and blah, 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 I can't do that to her. And, well, if you can't do it to her now, the day you decide to do it to her is going to be way more devastating from that person than if you just do it early, right when the honeymoon phase is over. She'll get over it if it's in the honeymoon phase. And I'm only speaking from the male's perspective because I'm a male. He'll get over it, if you break up with him during the honeymoon phase, unless there's something chemically wrong with them. And if they're one of those people, you definitely didn't want to be with them anyway. So that's all I'm trying to tell you. Is the crossroads is a normal thing and it happens in every relationship. So weigh the pros and cons of all the possibilities, right? But as I said, the talking points, I'm going to reiterate all the talking points. The honeymoon phase ending is normal. It's normal. Don't expect it to not end. Don't expect this feeling of happiness every single time I see you, I'm the happiest person on the planet. That is going to end for every relationship, okay? Number two, remember, don't think that somebody's out of your league, because then you start to ignore the red flags. And it makes it harder for you when you hit this crossroads to think clearly about which direction I should go. Do I go this way? Do I go this way? Do I go National Railway Museum? Do I go to park and ride? Do I go to tourist information? Do I go to theater where I'm just reading the signs that are right there? So don't pedestal people or don't think somebody's out of your league, because then when you do get to Crossroads, it's going to influence your thinking and your thought processing, your decision making way too much. Remember, if this person were out of your league, this Crossroads feeling wouldn't even come anyway, because you'd be like, man, everything is just great with this person. So don't let quote unquote intoxicating beauty cloud your judgment when you hit the crossroads. Number 3, don't take yourself out of being available to others when you're just dating somebody. All right? Even if you say you're exclusive. I am exclusive, but that doesn't mean that if I'm around somebody and they seem to capture my interest, or if I'm out and I meet somebody, that I'm going to sit there and say, well, I have a girlfriend, so I have to ignore you and I have to not have interest in you. That's a boyfriend or girlfriend. That is not a husband or a wife. Do not give them that label. They have not earned it. Do not give them the same prestige that you do a husband and a wife. When they have earned that, then you treat them like that. Because your wife is somebody that you don't think about dating anybody else. You don't think about anything because she's earned it. Your husband is that. So don't pass that label on to somebody, especially when the honeymoon phase is just ending and you're in the crossroads. If you meet somebody and they do interest you, well, you're in the crossroads. You have a decision to make. If you're interested in them and they're interested in you, and just somehow, some way you guys met and it happened, it doesn't mean you have to tell yourself, man, well, I have a girlfriend, because it's just a girlfriend. And especially right when the honeymoon phase is over, you're not even pot committed to this person, right? You shouldn't have kids. You shouldn't have any of those things with this person. You're not pot committed, so it's really not that big of a deal. Like, don't make it a bigger deal than it needs to be. If somebody else, you think that person will make you happy, at the end of the day, this is all about you being happy and living with your decisions that you make in life. So keep that in mind. And then always be honest. I'm just reiterating the same points. Always be honest. Be honest with the person that you're dating. Be honest with the person that you know that we were just talking about, that you might find some interest in. Just be like, hey, kind of in this decision-making point with the person I'm dating, and I'm just not happy. And so you always have to be honest. At the end of the day, honesty is what will save you from a lot of the bad. Just you being honest. And a lot of you'd be surprised how people can take things. You might think that this person will get over it, this person will do things, and if it is one of those people, you need to get out of that relationship anyway. If there's one of those people where, they won't be able to take this, they're going to go psychotic, they're going to do this, they're going to do that, you should have seen red flags by that point, and you should have ended this relationship a long time ago anyway. Whether they were beautiful, the most beautiful person you ever dated or whatever, that's not worth it. That level of psychotic behavior is not worth it. You should have been out of this relationship a long time ago. It should have never even gotten to this point anyway. And I think there's just one last point. If I can get my mouse cursor that I've lost. There it is. Let's see. The last talking point that I gave you guys was... just remember that there is no perfect person. So this person that you're dating, that you're in the crossroads with, is going to have flaws. If you're in the crossroads and somebody else is capturing your interest, they're going to have flaws too. So it's about the flaws that you can tolerate. Don't think that there is that perfect person. There is no perfect person for you. Every person is going to have flaws. Every person will get on your nerves. So if the person is just doing something, and you have to really start thinking, is it that person or is it me? I've met some people who've told me that they had to break up with people over things where I'm like, man, that's very minor. That's a very minor thing. But, everybody's different. Some people, especially if you have like OCD, Something that's minor to me could be major to you. But if you have OCD about it, you have to really think about it. Okay, this is a minor detail that I understand that I have this problem and it bothers me. But you have to be honest about your problem and say, is it worth losing this person? And will I find somebody who I can replace this person with who will make me more happy? Because the answer might not be yes. So don't lose a good person because something is getting on your nerves. Of course, address it, but don't lose a good person because something's getting on your nerves. Because everybody's going to get on your nerves that you're in a relationship with. It's just how much can I tolerate? Even when you're married, your husband or wife will get on your nerves at some point. And there's going to be something that they continue to do that will get on your nerves. So can I tolerate it is the question you need to ask. If you keep searching for that perfect person, you're going to be those people that are just lonely and who have just given up. And don't be that person. You know, if that's what you want, sure. But don't be that person who is lonely and is tired of being lonely because you have issues and you can't accept people's flaws. Everybody's flawed. That's what makes us human. So this is your boy J Dash. This was Crash with Dash, Art of Attraction Thursdays. Hope you learned something. This show will continue, and I will continue to help you all in the dating world. Please send emails. I haven't checked my email since I've been back from vacation for this, so I will. So please send emails with any questions or any topics that you would like to discuss. Join me live as well and send messages in the chat, and I'll respond instantly. You all have a good one. Be safe out there in the dating world. Keep your head up. Keep your confidence up. Good things will happen. You all have a good one. Peace.